Great evening, great evening, great evening. Welcome, my friend, again to Begin Again Use University. I am your host tonight, President and Chancellor here at Begin Again University, Dr. Ray Johnson, where we always say you can begin again. I want to thank you, my friend, for taking time to tune in with us tonight. Tonight's our gathering time for Begin Again University Leadership Weekend, where we're going to spend time tonight talking, as you've already seen, talking about how to be able to take big steps. That's right, how to be able to take big steps leading from the future backward. I will be with you tonight, and then again on tomorrow morning, where we're going to spend some time together. I'll be talking a little bit tomorrow in regards to the practical side of what we will discuss tonight. Tonight, I want to talk to you a little bit about mindset. And after we talk and discuss a little bit about mindset tonight, I want to pick back up tomorrow with methodology in terms of taking big steps. Many of you may be continuing to ask the question, what in the world is Begin Again University all about? What is Begin Again University all about? Well, I want to remind you that it's a consortium and a consulting and curriculum development group designed to help you discover power and discover the power of your purpose and your potential. And that's right. Many of us have got a lot of purpose and potential that's hidden away, but I want to begin to help you to unpack that and begin to live toward your future right now backward. I'll unpack that some more in just a few moments. Begin Again is really the trainings that will help you develop skills and understanding your identity, your intimacy, and all of that with a sense of intensity. And so many people wonder, what are the aspects of Begin Again University? Of course, it's our mentoring, our modeling. That one that's the most important for me is the mind molding, with the motivation to begin again in many different areas of our lives. And so as you're taking time to tune in tonight, I want to remind you, what do you receive in regards to all of that? It's leadership and organizational development training, also relationship readiness with repair and renewal with our specialized 3-quarter system coaching model. Will I meet with you in moments just like this 3 different times a year? And so, and in between all of those will be the master classes. I want you to look forward to opportunities for why you should enroll. It's the monthly trainings that you receive with myself, weekly lunch and learns. You learn more from the private Facebook community group. And so if you haven't found the Begin Again mentoring and coaching group on Facebook, make sure that you go and you find that and take a look at that as soon as you can. I want to thank you for taking time to tune in with me on tonight, because tonight we're going to spend some time talking tonight simply about taking big steps. Last time that I was with us, we gathered together in person inside of our classroom/studio area right there on the second floor of our Dominion Outreach Worship Center, or I should say Dominion Ministries building. And we've been spending some time talking about, from this concept this year, of how in the world do I lead from the future backwards? How in the world do I lead from the future backwards? And so I want to pick right back up with some of those concepts, because the idea of leading from the future backward has everything to do with being able to see yourself living inside of the dynamic whereby which you see your life purpose. Let me say that again. Leading from the future backward is actually visualizing and seeing yourself in the future, where there is full manifestation of your life purpose, about why you're on the planet, about how you are uniquely designed. And we want to take time throughout these next 2 days to kind of figure out, how do I begin to do that, leading from the future backward? How do I begin to do that? And how does that work? And it all begins with us beginning to take some of the next steps and some of the big steps in our lives. And so many of us may not necessarily seeing ourselves in that way from that perspective, but I want you to understand and to know that it is possible. And as we say it with Begin Again University, no matter what happens or takes place in your life, you always can begin again. And so I want to kind of jump in on tonight's gathering time. As we spend some time training tonight, we want to talk about what are the mindsets that you need? What kind of mindset do you need in order to be able to take the next steps in your life? What is the mindset that you need in order to be able to take the next step or taking a big step in your life? I know sometimes when you go through certain difficulties in certain moments, it can become difficult and hard for you to take big steps or the next step. But tonight, I think we've got some things that will help you along the way begin to figure that out. So listen, taking big steps is all about our mentality. It's about how we think about it. And before we take big steps, sometimes we've got to take smaller and little steps. Really, it's about making bold moves. Big steps is about our willingness to lay aside our fears and go after what it is that you desire and simply pursue after it with everything that's within you. I don't care if it's about starting a new business, going after a new degree, starting a new relationship, trying a different approach in regards to parenting your child or adolescent or young teen or even young adult, or looking at a new communication strategy, launching a new branching opportunity with new software. I think that big steps is really all about your mentality, and it's about laying aside the fear that you may have so that you can pursue. Come on, somebody type that in wherever you're watching me at tonight. Type it in. I can begin again. Come on, type that in real quickly. I can begin again. Let's keep moving with this on tonight. So let me make this a little bit larger on the screen so that you can see it. No matter what the issue or what the area you pursue, as I've already mentioned, whether it's going back to school, finishing a degree, losing weight, changing careers, starting a new business venture, making a life change in your life, adopting or becoming a foster parent for some who have not been able to have children, making an adjustment in your life may be about, you know what, I'm getting to the age where I may not be able to conceive. So I may want to consider a begin again moment by becoming a foster parent. Sometimes taking big steps is about really forgiving and releasing others who may have hurt, maligned, mishandled, or misused you. Taking big steps sometimes has to do with being able to release others who may have hurt, maligned, mishandled, or misused you. I want to spend a few moments on that one because I find my own self in many struggles in that area in my own life experience. But here's what I found out. I found out that when I don't release others, when I don't practice forgiving, when I don't practice forgetting the past and taking the steps necessary to move ahead, it's like drinking poison and then hoping that the offender is going to die. I want to say that one more time. It's like drinking poison yourself and hoping the person that is mishandled, maligned, or misused you is hoping that they are going to die. Can I just give you a quick news flash when it comes to taking big steps? They have moved on and gone on about their business. Why haven't you? Let me say it to you again. They have moved on and gone on about their business. Why haven't you? Don't you think it is high time for you to start taking the next steps and even big steps if you're going to fulfill your life purpose, to live out your identity, to be who it is that you believe heaven has designed for you to be? I think it's time for you to start taking the steps to move on and get right on into the next sphere of your life. I want you to type it in one more time. I don't want you to practice saying it with me. Come on, say it with me. I can begin again. I don't care what has happened in your life. If it's bankruptcy, setbacks, missed moments, missed opportunities, not having the resources. We're going to talk about that one on tomorrow. But always remember, no matter where you find yourself at in life, you always can begin again. If you've got breath in your body, if you still have life on the inside of you, I don't want you to forget that you can always begin again in various areas of your life. Come on. So now listen. How do I know when I haven't moved on? We're talking about taking big steps, having the right mindset for that. And there are moments where we can find ourselves where we're still tied to and held to our past. How do we begin to know that we haven't moved on? Let me take a moment and just greet a few people on tonight. I see Brother Mike Hall, who's tuned in with us tonight. I see Lady, who's tuned in with us tonight. Thank you all for being here. I hope that this is going to be a help and an added blessing for you. How do I know when I'm still stuck in the past? Here's one way. It's become the narrative with how you present and identify yourself. One of the ways that you know you're still tied to the previous experience, still tied to the past, still tied to the memory and the misery of the moment that you found yourself in, is that it becomes the narrative with how you present yourself. Have you ever known people who identify themselves and introduce themselves by their experience? A lot of times it may not take more than 30 seconds to 5 minutes before they start telling you and talking to you about all of their woes and about what happened to them and who did what and how it took place and what things happened. Here's one of the ways you know when you haven't moved on. I want to begin to encourage you to develop a new narrative and allow the new narrative to become the new normal. Your new narrative is, I know that this took place, but I can outlive this because I can begin again. Come on, let me give you another one real quickly. It is constantly and consistently in your conversation. I know that there are some people that walk through the life experience, whether it was a foreclosure on a house or a divorce or a moment where they may have lost a loved one or lost a child, and I know that those are all harsh situations and difficult moments. But remember, we're talking about having the right mindset to take the next step or to take big steps. Pending where you are and where you find yourself at in life, you don't got a whole lot of time left. You've got a little bit of life that's left, and you're aging by the day. Moments are continuing to pass you by. You know, there is an old adage phrase that says time waits for no one. But I want to encourage you. I don't let this isn't necessarily a ministry moment, but I believe in this passage that I found in scripture in Joel chapter 2 and verses 26, where it talks about how God will restore the years that the cankerworm and the locust has eaten up from us. He'll give us access to more opportunity if we're just willing to take the next step or to take a big step. Come on, type that in tonight. I'm willing to take the next step or take a big step. Come on, type that in with me. I'm willing to take the next step or to take a big step. Number 3, here's another way that I know that I haven't moved on. You will find yourself, this one is big, talking to people who are not there. Come on, I just want to talk to somebody tonight who's ever found themselves where your thoughts begin to come out of your own head and you find yourself driving in your car. And while you're driving in your car, you're thinking about the misery moment, the messy moment, the mess up moment that has happened or taken place, and you're talking to yourself. It's almost as if you're having what I would call, and I'm not making light of this, but I say this a lot, where you can have a schizophrenic moment with yourself. I know that that is a diagnosis, and I don't want to be insensitive to others, but when you are finding yourself talking to yourself about the issue and the moment, and there's nobody there, that's an indication that you haven't moved on, and that becomes a blockage for you to where it keeps you from being able to take the next step. When you find yourself rehashing, reliving, when you find yourself creating a narrative and that becomes your identity, where you now orient to life, and every time you introduce yourself to others, you're introducing yourself by way of the experience that you have had. I want to say once again, newsflash for you, you got to understand and know that people have already moved on from that moment. And you can't take next steps or big steps if you keep living there. You know, many times when we talk about taking steps, many people talk about taking steps. Imagine a staircase and you're at the bottom and you start to climb the staircase. Watch this, excuse me, step by step by step. I got to go to the scripture again on this one. The scripture says the steps of a good man or a good woman or a human, good human, are ordered by the Lord or ordered by heaven. But a lot of times it's step by step by step. Whenever you continue to rehash a moment that you've gone through, where it becomes your identity, where it becomes your narrative, it's like getting halfway up the staircase, and then all of a sudden you end up following right on back down to the beginning. And sometimes that can become discouraging, that every time you take a step, you end up going back 5 or 6 steps, and you're wondering why I'm always having to start over. It's because you keep living out of that narrative. And I want you to create a new narrative whereby which you can take big steps to be able to jump over some of the step-by-step process and find yourself further along in your future. It's all about your mindset and in terms of how you're seeing it. This is so critically important. Nothing of what I'm going to share tomorrow in terms of the practicality of the pragmatic approach is going to make sense if you don't first get this right here. You have to have a moment where you resolve you are where you are. You're in what you're in. What's happened is what's happened. You have what you have, but you got to make up your mind that I can begin again, that I can take the next step. Come on, let me keep rolling with this through you for tonight. I want to just, by example, sometimes when an injustice happens or takes place, sometimes you wonder, is it just us? Is it just me that's experiencing this injustice? Or will there ever really be any justice done? I was having a conversation with someone just in the last 2 weeks. And as I was conversating with them, I know that's not a word, but while I was in the midst of this conversation with them, I was communicating about the nuances of what took place and how it happened in my own life. I've suffered many setbacks. I've suffered many breakdowns. I've suffered many mishaps. I've suffered many missed moments and maligned opportunities. I've suffered many mischaracterizations. And I was trying to explain the nuances and the details of how happened and what happened and why happened and what took place. And all of a sudden, the person I was communicating with just simply said to me, "You're not the only one that has suffered in this." And it paused me for a second. That life happens to everybody. Life happens to everybody. I got to say that again. When it comes to taking big steps, you got to understand life happens to everybody. I want to say life is not fair. There are going to be moments when you find out just how bad it is for somebody else that you've got to make a decision. I'm not going to continue to live here where I am. I'm willing to take some new steps. And it dawned on me, I'm not the only one in this experience. See, a lot of times, no matter what it is, foreclosure, divorce, breakup, loss of resources, car repossession, rejection letter, didn't get the grant loan, or high interest rates, or lights out, utilities off, living in an impoverished environment, feeling boxed in and closed in. Life happens to everybody. You've got to wrestle within yourself and settle in the idea that life is not fair. But it doesn't mean that you have to be trapped in the moment where you find yourself in. If you're willing to adjust your mindset and begin to take the next step, or be willing to take some big steps. So here are a couple of things that I think can help each and every one of us when it comes to being willing to change our mindset. I want you to take a look at some of these on the screen. Poor mindset versus rich mindset. Poor mindset procrastinates, tends to be pessimistic. Let me just talk about that first one. Tends to be pessimistic. Critical spirited, pessimistic people tend to nitpick and choose and look at the glass as half empty rather than half full. Come on, let me give you some more of these. Uh, Poor mindset lives in the past. Poor mindset constantly complains. Poor mindset avoids learning. I know that this is a big one. I was in a leadership dynamic setting and I was talking to some of those I lead. And while I was talking to them, I started to talk about what was necessary to improve and build our capacity. And one person began to ask me about this change in regards to something I want to improve on one of our websites. And as I had the conversation with them, all of a sudden, the person began to ask me, well, did you go to school and get training for that? I quickly said, no, I didn't go to school and get any training for this. I had to teach and train myself. See, when you got the right mindset, when you've got the mindset that says, I'm going to take the next step, no matter what it takes, you're willing to learn what you got to learn, do the research for what you need to research. Even if you have to teach and train yourself, you got to make up your mind. I'm better than this. I'm going to get out of this. I'm not going to live here in this moment of where I find myself in because I can begin again. Come on, type it in with me tonight. Somebody type it in. Yes, coach, I can begin again. Type it in. Yes, coach, I can begin again. Come on, let's keep going. Sees obstacles as unbeatable and quits easily. Never be the kind of person that gives up easily just because something appears that is too hard. Always has short-term goals. I know some people that when they make their plans, they only do short-term goals and never have any long-term goals because they never want to find themselves disappointed when something doesn't work out. Let me say that again. I know that there are many moments where some people can find themselves only making short-term goals because they are afraid that the long-term goals won't work out. Sometimes you have to have moments when you're willing to make adjustments. I'll get into some of that on tomorrow. But let me go back into some more of these. Watch this right here. Poor mindset. Look at this. Views failure as the end of the road. Can I just simply just say to somebody that failure is really an opportunity to fall forward, to learn what you need to learn so that you can take the next step. Let me say it again. Failure is not really failure. It's really about falling forward so that you can learn what you need to learn so that you can take the next step in your life. I want to keep on with these. Watch this one. Spends impulsively and lacks financial discipline. Somebody need to hear that one right there. Sometimes we can have moments where we are so undisciplined, where we will tend to look for moments. Watch this. We will look for moments to ease the pain with creature comforts. Let me do it again. We look for moments to ease the pain with creature comforts. And in easing the pain with creature comforts, what ends up happening to us is we end up breaking our budgets, which set us further back, or we look for quick fix opportunities that are beyond where we are financially, and we put ourselves further in debt. So a lack of financial discipline really is a lack of discipline all the way around. It's a lack of discipline in how we think, a lack of discipline in how we perceive, a lack of discipline in how we eat, a lack of discipline in terms of how we handle conflict and issues of our lives. If you want to continue to stay where you are, you'll continue to keep doing what you've always done. But if you want to get out of this, you've got to develop practicing a new mindset that reminds you, I can get through this. Look at this one. See success as luck or chance. Can I just tell you that nothing ever happens? Can I say it to you tonight? That nothing just happens. You have the ability to create your own destiny, to determine how you want to live by the decisions that you make in your head and in your mind first. Somebody reminded me the other day that in another context, in terms of a preaching environment, I preached a message talked about you come out of circumstances and situations by your head first. And what I meant in that message was about how you think. See, a lot has to do with your mindset. If you're willing to take next steps or big steps and make bold moves, you got to change how you think. When I think about this particular idea and thought of leading from the future backwards, have you ever envisioned yourself in your future? Have you seen, watch this, the clothes that you wear? Have you seen the house you want to live in? Have you seen the car you want to drive? Have you seen the education you want to have? You've got to have a vision of your future. You got to see yourself in it so that you can see yourself in it, so that you can see yourself in it. I hope somebody caught that one right there. Come on, one more time. Somebody type it in. Say it to yourself. I can begin again. That's right. I can begin again. Look at this one. Look at this one. Envies successful / rich people and sees them as evil. Sees them. Look at this. Envies successful / rich people and sees them as evil. That's a poor mindset. We call that haters. I want you to listen, I want you to start seeing your future with an embodiment right now. Remember, this is about leading from the future backwards. I want you to see yourself and your future by looking for an embodiment of that future right now. In other words, there are mentors and models all around you that you can watch. We all put our clothes on the same way. We all got to take the same showers. We all got to brush our teeth. We all got to consume and eat food. We're all human. Look around you and find models, one, and mentors, two, who can help you get to the future of where you want to get to. Don't see them as evil. See them, watch this, as patterns. My God, in here on tonight. You've got to see them as patterns that says, what did they do to go from where they were to where they are? What did they do to go from where they were to where they are? Come on, let's keep going. Let's talk about the rich mindset. Now, this isn't all about money, but it is about taking big steps. You got to be willing to take action. You tend to be optimistic when you take a big step mindset. You live in the present. You focus on the positive aspects. Remember, half empty, half full. You're willing to invest in continuous learning. One of the things that I love about my wife is that I learned so many different things in the areas of technology. She has learned so many things in the areas of design. And so she was willing to teach and to train herself by falling forward in the process of designing graphic artwork that each time she designs it, she just gets better and get it better and better. Each time I work on web designs and layouts and branding, I get better and better and better. Being willing to fall forward, training yourself until you get it. Another one is being willing to invest in yourself and take some classes and some courses to do retooling and retraining and redevelopment. I'm going to say those again. Being able to involve and invest yourself in some courses or some classes so that there is retooling, retraining, and redevelopment. Sometimes, yes, relationally, it's important to involve yourself in some relational enrichment. Sometimes it's good to get some, what I would call self-help and self-awareness training so that I don't keep making the same decisions over and over again so that I can get better at this. You've got to be willing to invest in yourself if you're going to make some moments, take time to be able to improve. Come on, let me go to this other one right here. Look at this one. Sees obstacles as opportunities to learn and grow, sets long-term goals, takes calculated risk, sees failure as a learning opportunity towards success. Just this afternoon, while I was involved in training someone, we were in the process of running, and they were saying to themselves, I can't do it. I feel like I'm just going to fall down. And I say, never say you can't do it. What you can say is, I haven't learned how to do it yet. My goodness, in here. Never say I can't, say I haven't learned how. See, there should never be anything in this life. Now, that's within reason that you can learn how to do most things. If you're willing to invest in training and development, you can begin to teach yourself. I'm almost finished with this on tonight. Come on, let me get back into some more. Watch this one right here. I like these. Last one. See successful people as sources of inspiration. We're talking about how do we develop a change in mindset. I got to go to this one right here. I like this. This is for my Gen Xers and boomers. Watch this. The older I get, the more I understand I may have to be in my healing alone by myself. Some of us never really get to the next phase because we always feel like somebody got to be with us. You may have to go through a season where you are alone but not lonely. You may have to go through a season where you are alone but you're not lonely. I only got time to unpack that. Just let that hit you. Where you begin to walk through a process of changing the way you think all by yourself. Sometimes you got to do it all by yourself. Sometimes you don't need an audience of people around you while you are going through the process of change. When a caterpillar becomes a butterfly, it spins itself, watch this, into its own cocoon. And it does its metamorphosis. It's changing. It's the process of change can be ugly. It can be grueling. It can be difficult. And it is hidden. Sometimes you need to be hidden while you're walking through a process of change. Let me give you some more of these. Look at this right here. I do not have to give my emotional energy away if I can't afford to or don't want to. I ain't even gonna add nothing else to that. Self-care looks differently daily, and that's okay. That one is important because sometimes the self-care that you need is going to look differently. For some of you, it's a cup of coffee, maybe not too much. For some of you, it's sitting in a whirlpool or a sauna. Some of you, it's putting your feet in the sand on a beach. Some of you, it may be taking yourself on a picnic by yourself and sitting by the water up underneath a tree and eating your lunch. It's going to look, you have to find what works for you. Come on, I got to keep going. Look at this one. Forcing what isn't for me is self-destructive. Look at, you have to be able to understand what's for me and what's not for me. I can be trauma informed without being trauma consumed. You can become aware of what your triggers are, but you don't have to live by them. Watch this one. I need balance and a routine to feel grounded. My boundaries also apply to me. You have to set boundaries on yourself. Let me help all of you generous, mercy, gift-oriented people. Sometimes you got to do for you for what you would do for others. Some of you, you go to the nth degree to give everything that you have in terms of your time, talent, and treasure to everybody else, but you don't take time to do stuff for you. My wife gets on me a lot because I'll take myself to the movies. Movies is one of the ways that heaven talks to me and downloads. It is also my own recreative moment. It is also a moment of information. It works for me. You have to be willing to do what's necessary, and that's going to work for you. Look at this one. Here we go. I need balance and a routine to feel grounded. The older you get, the more you will understand. See, I cannot heal anyone but myself. That one is big. My kindness is not a pass for people to treat me poorly. Can I just tell you, you train people and how to treat you? I'm talking tonight about how to develop the mindset that will help you take the next steps in your life. This is so good. Somebody else, you should text somebody and tell them, I don't know why you missed this tonight because beginning again university was good. Watch this. Everything doesn't deserve a reaction or a response. I had to learn that one right there. Everything doesn't deserve, come on, this is for all of my knuck of you bug people. Everything does not deserve a response. Sometimes when people come to unload on you or when conflict comes your way, it takes two people to argue. It takes two people to fight. You can let them get off their chest, everything they want to get off their chest. And you can ask them, are you finished saying what you need to say? and you can turn and head in the other direction. That is a process of maintaining your peace so that you can move forward and continue in your process. My goodness, right here. Look at this one. Self-forgiveness is essential for my growth. Can I just say to somebody, you do not have to continue to carry the weight of yesteryear's mistakes. Before you forgive others, can you please forgive yourself? Can you please forgive yourself for the bad relationships? Can you please forgive yourself for the bad financial decisions? Can you please forgive yourself for moving in with them? Can you please forgive yourself for having a child out of the wrong way with the wrong person? Sometimes you got to forgive and release yourself. I got to go to the scripture one more time. I know it's not Sunday, it's Friday night. It's Begin Again University, but I want to say to somebody, it's critically important for you to understand that if heaven doesn't remember, why are you still remembering? See, all of these are blockages that keep you from taking the next steps in your life. It's critically important for you to begin to do that. Come on, I got to go to some more. Time getting away, almost up for tonight. Look at this one. Settling isn't going to make my life easier or better. Somebody type in for me tonight. Do not settle. Come on, type it in. Do not settle. Come on, say it out loud. Do not settle. Sometimes we settle for people. We settle for circumstances. We settle for the kind of money we have. We settle for the kind of job we want. We settle. One of the things that I've learned is as I get older and have gotten older, I don't have a lot of time left. I refuse to settle. I refused to settle. Let me give you an example. During the years in my early 30s, I taught at a high school level. Matter of fact, I was the lead teacher and department head. It was a lot of stress working in a high school environment. But having come from being a youth pastor before, I'm used to working with young people and with young children. There is no way that I could have the same patience with my temperament. I know this about me. For teenagers on a daily basis in a classroom setting, for where I am in life right now and for where I was at 33. No way possible. At 47, 48, 49, 51, 2, and 3. No way possible. I knew that about myself. So I would not settle for teaching at a high school. I knew that I am a university trained one professor. I've already taught at a middle school and high school level. I knew that I was going to be teaching at a university at some point. I was willing to put the work in self-investment, but I was willing to not settle until the opportunities came. I want to tell somebody tonight, don't you settle for dating the wrong person, for marrying the wrong person, for driving wrong, for living in the wrong environment. Don't you settle for bad behavior that comes from a spouse or from children. Don't you settle for the weight that you have on you. Don't you settle. Somebody just type it in one more time. Don't settle, don't settle, don't settle. Come on, I'm getting through this tonight. Excuses will keep you stuck, and you got work to do. That's my wife's favorite line right now. I got work to do. I want to tell you, if you're going to get through taking the next steps, you got work to do. Here is where I want to spend the rest of my time tonight, and I will get through these quickly because I don't want you to miss tomorrow morning when we start to talk practically tomorrow on tomorrow. So let me go number 1. 6 things mentally strong people do. If you're going to take big steps and next steps in your life, you've got to become mentally strong yourself. If you're going to take big steps and next steps, you've got to become mentally strong. Here are 6 things. They move on. They don't waste time feeling sorry for themselves. They move on and they won't waste time feeling sorry for themselves. Yes, it happened. Yes, it took place. Yes, this is where I am. Yes, this is where I find myself, but I'm not going to continue to settle with this right here. I'm going to get out of this. That's one. Two, they embrace change and they welcome challenges. When you're learning new things, when you're trying something for the first time, when you're retooling, re-equipping, and you're developing new skills, you've got to embrace the moment for that. Particularly if you want to take big steps, watch this, and see yourself in your future. I want to encourage you to work from your future backward. I want you to see yourself with the new family. See yourself with the changed child. See yourself in the new relationship. See yourself with the new job. Come on, are y'all hearing what I'm saying to you on tonight? I want you to see yourself there and start from the future backward. Here we go. They embrace change and they welcome challenges. They stay happy. They don't waste energy on things they can't control. You can't change people and you can't change your process, but you can change your plan. I'm going to do that again. You can't change people. You can't change your process, but you can change your plan. I'm going to do them again. You can't change people. You can't change your process, but you can change your plan. Why can't you change your process? Because your process is uniquely fitted for you to evolve and develop the new you. I wish I had more time. Your process is uniquely fitted for you in order to develop the new you. I'll get into some more of that on tomorrow, but time is getting away from us on tonight. Come on. Number 4, they are kind, fair, and unafraid to speak up. Sometimes you have to say to situations, scenes, scenarios, circumstances, and people, I don't like that. I will not tolerate that. This is unacceptable. Can I do them again? I don't like that. I will not tolerate that. This is unacceptable. I got to say it again. I don't like that. I will not tolerate that. And this is unacceptable because you train scenes, scenarios, and circumstances on how to treat you. I gotta go. Watch this. Number 5, they're willing to take a calculated risk. Big steps are about taking calculated risks. Tomorrow, we're going to spend time talking about how to handle and live with where you are and taking big steps. Big steps are not just willy-nilly moves. They are calculated risks because you've gotten information. They're calculated risks because you've analyzed the data. Can I just tell you, trust the data sometimes? Trust the data. I'll unpack that tomorrow. You got to do your research and trust the data so you don't get caught out here slipping. This is just, I wish I had more. I wish I had more. That might be a whole masterclass in and of itself by itself. How do I do the research and develop the methodology to understand who this is, what kind of job this is, what neighborhood this is, who it is I'm with, what kind of environment this is that I'm going to find myself in? Majorly important. Number 6, they celebrate other people's success. They don't resent that success. I can't say it to you enough. Learn to celebrate other people. Learn to celebrate other people. When you find your model and your mentor, when you look out across the landscape and you see others making major moves, getting things done, don't hate, celebrate, figure out how to even get an audience with them to learn what they learn so that you can know what they know so that you can do what they do on your level. That is a whole nother conversation in peace right there. I'm going to land this plane tonight because tonight we're talking about how in the world do I take big steps. And one of the ways you take big steps or next steps in your life, no matter where you are, no matter what circumstance you find yourself in, or no matter what moment you're finding yourself in, it really is about taking the right kind of steps, and it begins with a change of mindset. To the point of all of that, I want to finish and land this plane tonight by having you take a look at this.
Heal our minds. Heal my mind. Heal my mind. Heal my mind. The way I think, what I concentrate on, my focus, my reasoning. Heal my mind. We have to get to this place where we view the mind as soil and conversations as seeds. Your playlist as seeds. I need you to understand this. When you view your mind as soil, you now can ask yourself these two questions. Who and what am I allowing in my garden? Healed minds think different. Renewed minds speak different. Renewed minds hear different. When your mind is wounded, accountability feels like judgment, correction feels like an attack, and compliments cause suspicion. Is it possible that we are raising our own anxiety due to the movie trailers that we're creating in our head? Your emotions are the cast. Your imaginations have created scenes, and your meditation have become the credits. Overthinking is a misuse of your creative self. Worry is a down payment on a problem you may never have.
Worry is a down payment on a problem you will never have. I want to thank you for tuning in with me on tonight. Listen, masterclass on this stuff is coming soon. I want you to get ready for that for August. Tomorrow morning, we're going to talk about the means of taking next steps and big steps. Tonight, we talked about the mindset. Tomorrow, we're going to get real practical, 11 a.m., right back here on this same platform that you're watching on. And listen, if you ever need to bring me to your organization, to your entity, to your nonprofit, your church, your ministry, if you ever need opportunities at Begin Again, we do this in these areas of faith, family, and finance. I look forward to coming to you. Simply go to beginagain.tv and send an email communication, fill out forms. We'll be willing to get right there with you. I want to thank you for tuning in on tonight. I hope this was a blessing to you. I'll see you again on tomorrow morning, right at 11 a.m., because there is an opportunity where you can begin again.